Hello there YouTube, PolarBear084 here, back with another episode of A Bear's Guide to Hunting. And this time we take on another Elder Dragon, one that has the unique capacity to turn invisible. The Chameleos, that Kingdom Hearts boss that everyone hates. While it may seem slightly unfair to have to fight an enemy that you can't actually see, there are some ways to get around it. And there's also a handy trick that you can use if you happen to have the dragon element. First, let's go over our items though, and we'll get into that more when we actually run into Chameleos proper. So, as far as equipment, we have the Wyvern Blade Blood, which if you watch the Rathalos and Rathian guide, I'll post it up there so you can take a look at that. You should know how to get this very, very easily. Reuses Rathalos materials and has decent fire attack and very decent attack, which is what we're going to be using here. Chameleos is, of course, weak to fire. He's also weak to dragon, but as you most likely won't have dragon, fire is your next best bet. And then as far as items, we have a couple of new additions to our item list. We have the Power Charm and the Armor Charm. And if you're wondering, wait a second, I've never seen these items in this game before, that's because they're actually in the guild, hall. At some point, they are useful to have in your inventory. They do cost 36,000 for the Power Charm and 24,000 for the Armor Charm. So it's around about now that you start having enough money in the bank to be able to consider an item like this. And if you don't, the Rathalos and Rathian fight is a very good source of money, as you can very quickly take out two creatures in about 10-15 minutes. So I would recommend that one. We also have our regular assortment of potions, mega potions, paintballs, whetstones. We have 2 Demondrugs, 2 Armourskins, 3 energy drinks. Those will be very useful during this fight, more so than in the others. 3 life powders and 10 antidotes. 2 from the chest and 8 that we brought with us. And you can guess what status element that Chameleos deals in just based on that. We also have sonic bombs and whatever else we got from the chest. I do not want to discard, please. Alright, so Chameleos is usually going to be in Area 9. It's where he hangs out. He will always be here when you first fight him. He'll always be in this area. A cutscene will play as you enter, and that's how you'll know he's here. It doesn't seem like he's here this time, though. He could be... Yeah, no, he's not here. Alright, so let's check Area 8 and then Area 10. He likes to frequent those as well. If not that, then Area 4. But yeah, so, like I said, Chameleos is invisible, and there is a way around that. The first way is that he kind of shimmers when he's invisible. You can kind of see flashes of his outline, so you get a good idea of where he is, though he may be mostly invisible most of the time. You can prevent him from becoming invisible if you break his horn. However, the only way to break his horn is with the dragon element, and that's where the problem comes in. One way around that, that was helpfully pointed out to me by Darren, is that, so thank you for that, you can give your cat dragon attack. And let's talk to our friendly neighborhood balloonist. Maybe he can tell us at least what area it's in, if not exactly where it is. It's in the walls. Okay, no, yeah, he's literally right here. Yep, there he is. He's actually here. He's that invisible. So, let's see, he jumped somewhere. There he is. There is Chameleos, the brief glance you got of him. So yeah, you can break his horn with the dragon element, so I would recommend giving your cat the dragon element. Hitting the horn as much as you can, and then waiting for your cat to hit the horn, and then you should be fine. You may notice that having issues hitting him even with the spirit gauge full. So you might want to bring blue sharpness if you can find it. I need to move. He missed me, thankfully. If you can get blue sharpness, I would recommend it. But the element does a lot of work in this fight, so it's not... I would I don't know if it's necessarily worth giving up, is what I'm saying. It does do a lot of heavy lifting during this fight. But anyway, so let's get into his attacks then, shall we? Besides, you know, jumping you while invisible, he has a lot of different moves. The most prevalent and problematic of his is the poison mist attack he does, where he just jumps in the air and does a poison attack in a large area underneath him. That area gets even larger when he's enraged. So the best way to handle this fight is, honestly the best way to handle a lot of these, is to kind of get in, get your damage done, and then get out so that you won't get caught by that poison. It's not toxin, like it can be in the later Monster Hunter games. Thankfully here it is just poison, so an antidote will take care of that. Alright, let me see if I can't heal up a little bit. Should probably take that armor drug and Demondrug as well. So yeah, he also has that spit attack that you've seen a couple of times now, where he just raises his head up, straightens his neck, and then spits in front of him. If that hits you, it will lower your defense, which can be very problematic. That spit right there. It has quite a wide range when it hits, so even if it misses you, just make sure you roll, and you should be avoiding that relatively simply. Alright, he's gone into complete stealth mode. We just have to wait for him to reappear. There he is. So yeah, you can kind of see the biggest problem with this fight is being able to keep an eye on where his head is. There you go, I got greedy and got hit with the poison. Keeping an eye on where his head is and where he is in general. Alright, so that is his other biggest problematic attack that he can do, which is his exhaust beam, where he kind of breathes on you with his halitosis and makes you exhausted. It completely reduces your stamina to its lowest possible state, and it prevents you from eating stamina regenerating foods. The only way to get rid of it is with an energy drink, and that is why they are so very useful. I only bought 3 the first time I fought him. I would probably recommend bringing a couple more, as many as you can, really, just in case you get hit by it more than once. Hopefully you won't, but just in case. So his other attack that he'll do is he'll slam his tail 4 times like this, which creates a very heavy wind pressure. And then he will always follow that up with a kind of a tongue attack, very similar to a frog's kind of tongue. And that move can steal an item from you. You can tell which person he's aiming at with that tongue attack, because he will constantly stare at them as they move. You can see his head's kind of following me here. So the best thing to do there is to try to hide like somewhere close to his back. Not too close to the tail, because you'll be hit by the heavy wind pressure and it will leave you vulnerable. Much like that. But stay probably roughly this far away. He can't get you at this angle, and the tail can't get you because you're too far. It's the best place to stand, really. Let's see, what other attacks has he not done yet? So there's the spit again. That's pretty much most of the ones you want to watch out for. He can do a charge. He is also repositioning right now. I hit him in midair. Oh wait, no, he just flew and landed. There you go, there he is. So yeah, he can do a charge where he kind of flattens to the ground and charges forward. It's not that fast. It's certainly not as difficult to avoid as Lunastra. He also has a second tongue attack where he sweeps it in a 180-degree cone in front of him. The best way to avoid that is just not be in front of him in the first place. You really want to try to stay on his hind legs if you can. Obviously, when he's invisible, it's hard to know where that is. But just try to stay around about this area, right under his wing. The only thing that can really hit you here is the tail, which does no damage, and the poison, which does a decent amount of damage, but it's also fairly easy to avoid as long as you don't get too greedy. And then there's only one other attack left that he can do, which is he will claw across his body, much like all the other... there we go, he demonstrated there for us very kindly. Much like all the other Elder Dragons do, he'll just claw left to right or right to left. one or the other. So that's pretty much all of the attacks you need to watch out for. As you can see, it is kind of tricky to stay away from his face, because it's hard to know where his face is a lot of the time. I hear him flying. He flew up and landed. Alright, so the other thing about Chameleos that is quite nice is that he is fairly easy to stun, especially with the fire element. You can kind of get him into this nice cycle where you stun him and then you knock him to the ground, and you can get a lot of damage in that way. But obviously be careful not to be too greedy because of the poison attack that he has. Let's see if we can't get him to fall over. There we go. So yeah, when he staggers, he's not very far away from falling over, and so you can kind of do this nice, set up a nice double combo with your Spirit Gauge if you are using a Longsword, which I would recommend. The Spirit Gauge certainly makes it easier to not bounce off of him as often as you might otherwise. He does have this slight theming trick that he does, where he can just turn invisible and then disappear, and seemingly teleport from one side of the arena to the other. I don't think he actually can. I think it's just me losing track of him, but it will feel like that. So you want to make sure you're constantly kind of looking around you to make sure that you have at least a good idea of where he is. So he's in here. In fact, he's over there. Let's paintball him. So a paintball won't show you where he is. It will just show you the area he's in, unfortunately. So if you're thinking maybe you could get around it with that, unfortunately that doesn't work. I don't know necessarily how the Psychic Vision skill works with that. I'll have to look that up and put it in Bear's Broken Brain for you. But I feel like it would probably just work the same way as a paintball, in that you'll know the area he's in at least, but you won't know where in that area he is standing. Like right now, for example. He is eerily quiet. Ah, he's over here, that's why. This is the charge. You can see it's not really that fast. The only tricky thing is that the hitbox is longer than you expect because of his horn. Just going to move out of the way of that. He doesn't really, he doesn't have much of a tell for his poison breath attack. The only thing you can really do is just assume that it's going to happen. He kind of crouches to the ground before taking off, so there is a very short tell, but it's not usually long enough to interrupt your combo and then move far enough away. Alright, he stole a well done steak. I hope he enjoys that. It will be the last. Run away from the exhaust breath that he has. Alright, let's see if we can't get closer to his hind legs. There we go. Yeah, if you can stay close to his legs, either or, preferably the back ones, because then he can't claw you, he can't claw you and hit you with his tongue attack. We need to move. There we go. I had to be a leap of faith, sadly, otherwise he would have killed me. Alright, so we have defense down right now, which I believe has counteracted our defense up, unfortunately. Our cat has given it, though, which is good. Which has brought us back to normal defense, so that is something. And you can see he staggered and then very quickly fell to the ground. So this is this is kind of a loop you want to try and get him caught in. You do your overhead attack, you stab, and then you do the swing up. So triangle, circle, triangle is what you want to try to do here. And then you can lead that right into your attacks, your Spirit Gauge attacks. You can kind of see how he was here, and then he wasn't, and now he is again. Again, I think that's kind of taking advantage of the invisibility, where it looked like I lost track of him and wasn't hitting him, but I think he was just to the side of me. I got a little greedy there, but it was worth it. We put a lot of damage in. See if we can't get an antidote going. Another thing you can do as well with your cat is you can teach them Antidote Flute, as far as I'm aware. That's not what my cat has. My cat has Demon Flute, Armor Flute, and Large Health Flute. Basically just a support character. They are a pacifist, they don't attack, so all they do is kind of support me. And they have probably the highest defense of any creature in the game. Because all they've done is train defense this whole time. There you go, yeah, you see how he kind of stood up and got ready to leap? Kind of crouched down and then leapt. So you do have a short tail, it's just not enough. Spamming it 3 times in a row is a little rude, if I'm going to be honest. Alright, 4 times in a row. I'm going to hide behind this tree, not that it will matter. There we go, we evaded that, thankfully. Alright, so there is one other thing you can do as well. You can use Sonic Bombs to stun him right before he attacks. If you do, he'll drop a shiny, and it will stun him in the same way, it will stagger him the same way we've seen a couple of times now. Alright, he has fallen over again. If we can just get Spirit Gauge up, we can get maybe 1 barrage off on him. Again, you can kind of see how useful having the Spirit Gauge is, having the Elemental Advantage is, because that's what's been allowing us to kind of stagger him as frequently as we do. He takes a good amount of fire damage on his tail, he takes a lot on his head. He takes more dragon damage on his head, but again, you probably won't have that. Alright, I do think we need to sharpen at some point. We want to move over here. That was a good time to collect this, I think. Alright. He was aiming for us, but again, the angle he can do that attack at is not very wide. I mean, you try looking behind you when your whole body is pointing in a different direction. It's not very easy. Alright, he should still be here. Yep, yes he is. Alright. So you're going to be making use of a lot of triangle, circle, triangle combos. It is useful. You hit once with the overhead attack, then stab with circle, and then triangle brings your blade from below up. So you can see 1, 2, and then circle, and then brings it back up, and then you can start the whole combo again. Pretty much uninterrupted. So it's a good way to kind of chain stagger into stagger. When you do your Spirit Gauge attack, you do have to do the triangle and circle move, which brings you back like that. It's the only way to continue the chain. If you try any other attack, your character will just stand there and not do anything, unfortunately. Alright, so we staggered him again, so let's try and get him down again. Unfortunately, he's seen that movie before, and he didn't like it. Alright, let's see. Let's heal a little bit. So again, you can kind of see that this fight is not quite as frenetic as Lunastra's is, or as Teostra's will be. Sorry about that, cat. It is mostly, this is more of a tactical fight rather than an all-out duel. Here he is, he's over here. You see, because you didn't, I don't know if you saw, but there was no real indication of movement. He seems to just be able to teleport from one side of the arena to the other. So he is now no longer here, he's probably here? Nope. Where did he go? You can see this, where I drew the tactical illusion from. There you go. He's over there, and it looks like he's now leaving. So paintballs will be incredibly important during this, because you're going to want to know what area he's in. Otherwise, you would end up looking for the rest of the fight, unfortunately. It's very difficult to tell what area he's in, unless you look for the yellow eye symbol that appears next to your character, but sometimes that doesn't even show up, because it's a situation of he hasn't seen you and you haven't seen him. Just depending on how aware he is, or how vigilant he's being. Alright, we got lucky there. We got a little greedy. That's okay. Alright, he's somewhere. Where did he go? Unfortunately, he kind of just... he's here. You can see the camera kind of tripping over him a little bit. That's also a good indicator. If the camera just seems to get funky in the middle of an open area, that means it's knocking into him. It's a little cheaty, but I think the fact he can go invisible is cheaty as well. So I don't see anything wrong with that tactic. Alright, let's see if we can't. Ah, he got me right before I could do the last attack. Alright, he's probably gonna... I was expecting him to spit, but tongue attack also makes sense. Alright, and so yeah, this is very much just the kind of the cycle you will find yourself in. I do very much need to sharpen, I've noticed. Maybe I will take this opportunity to sharpen. I would like to get some more damage in, but I'm not going to be able to if I just keep bouncing off of him, unfortunately. Alright, let's see here. You will have to sharpen a lot more often than you would expect, just because you bounce off of him so much that your sharpness does go down faster than what is typical during a fight like this. Alright, we got him again. Nice. Alright. Let's see here. Also, when he's enraged, I didn't mention this yet, but he... you do see the green smoke pouring from his mouth, similar to his exhaust attack. That was rude. Alright. At least he's distracted by my cat. I can heal up a bit. But yeah, you can see he's enraged. He's moving slightly faster, but mostly the green smoke is the best indicator that he is actually enraged. See if we can't get this tail of his cut off, shall we? You can cut the tail. You end up cutting off the little tip instead of the whole tail, which is unfortunate. You would expect the whole thing to go. Alright. Ah, I got greedy there. We are approaching the time limit though, so we do want to try and put in as much damage as we can. On my first run through of Chameleos, I actually ended up doing so much damage in the first run with this setup that I killed him within the first 8 minutes in the second fight. So this does work. I don't know if I've piled on quite as much damage this time. In the last one I was able to cut his tail off, which you can only do when he has 30 HP or below. So we did do considerable damage in that one. Alright. So we might be able to. Let's see if we can't stagger him again. He just jumped up. Okay, so that seems to be what he's doing there. He jumps into the air without... He's right here. He jumps into the air without any kind of dust or anything like that. And that's how he seems to teleport across the arena. I'm getting greedy here. We are running out of time though, so we do want to try and make these last few minutes count. But you will have another opportunity to fight him. As I've said before, the Elder Dragon fights work in the way that you have 25 minutes to do as much damage as you can. Then they will flee, and after a couple of quests, their Elder Dragon quest will show back up in sometimes a different locale, sometimes in the same one. And you will be fighting the same Elder Dragon from the first fight. It will have all the same damage, all the same carves. So if you're able to cut the tail off in the first fight, its tail will still be gone in the second. I believe that we can cut this tail off. I believe that we can do it in the time we have left. Alright, I tried to do the triangle circle attack to get out of the way, but I bounced, unfortunately, because I lost sharpness. So, it's really up to you whether you want to bring the elemental advantage or the sharpness advantage. Both can work. I just feel like, because you have a time limit that you're dealing with, I do think that the more damage you can pile on, the better off you are, in my humble opinion. Alright, I think we can... I know we can do this. I know we can. Maybe if I stop bouncing off, that would help. Alright. So the tail can do damage if you're standing right underneath it. I forgot to mention that, but you're very rarely going to be standing right underneath it unless you're trying to cut it off like me. Unless you're overextending to try and cut this creature's tail off. It could just be that we just haven't dealt enough damage, which is understandable. He's probably at about, I would say, 50% HP right now, most likely. He just leapt into the air. I think he might be going to a different locale, and I do not have a paintball on him. Let's see how long we have left. He's about to flee. And there you go. So exactly at 25 minutes, it will do a check whether you have done 30% health damage to them or not. If you have, they flee. And you will typically have done, sorry, not 35, 30% health. And you'll typically have done 30%. It's very difficult not to, unless you're using under-leveled weapons, which I would not recommend, purely because of the time limit. I would, like I said, I use this for the fire element so you can get more damage in, but it does not have as much green sharpness or any blue sharpness, unlike, you know, some other weapons might have. Like, for example, the insect longsword is pretty good for that. It has some blue, but it will probably still run out very quickly, and you'll find yourself sharpening a lot, which eats into your 25-minute time limit. So it's really up to you. It is your decision. I would recommend longswords, though, because the spirit gauge is a very good way of piling in damage, but it also leaves you maneuverable enough that you aren't left out in the open, like with a greatsword charge. So, but that's Chameleos. I hope this helped you. I hope you found this interesting. If you kind of learned something, or if this helped you in your quest against Chameleos, then please let me know. If there's anything you want me to improve, let me know as well. I'm always trying to make these better as we go along. And if you did like it, go ahead and you know, let me know. Like it, like the video. It does help other people find these guides, so other people who might be struggling with the Elder Dragons can kind of come here for at least some small amount of advice. If you aren't subscribed to the channel, go ahead and get subscribed, because we're going to be going through every single monster, every single large monster in Monster Hunter Freedom Unite, all the way up to the end. So I don't think you're going to want to miss out on that. And I am still streaming on Twitch 3 days a week, Tuesday through Thursday. So if you want to come find me there, then by all means, the link will be in the description. But anyway, happy hunting. I hope this was helpful to you. And I shall see you next time.